Hello there, my RPG lovers, and welcome to another video. Well, it's that time of the year again when we talk about Gothic 3.
Don't be so hasty, son of impatience.
I like to come back to this game at least a couple of times a year and do another playthrough. I'm currently in the middle of a brand new playthrough, and I also did a lot of testing before I even started to ensure that everything will work with no issues. So I'm going to show you what I consider to be the best combination of mods, which you can easily install with one click basically.
Damn it! I'll never be able to pull this off!
It's like all-in-one installation package, but you still have a lot of wiggle room if you need it, which is great if you want to have a more customizable mod list. This time around, the whole process of installing Gothic 3 mods have been completely streamlined. One of the reasons for that is a brand new mod launcher called Unity Starter, which has some amazing quality of life features like all-in-one installation that I mentioned. A couple of great Gothic 3 modders have united in order to create this amazing mod pack for Gothic 3, so huge thanks to them for constantly trying to improve what has to be one of my most favorite RPGs ever.
Then you've come to the right place.
Anyway, last year I made a video about the best Gothic 3 mods and explained the whole installation process. Even though I did everything step by step, it seems a lot of people had technical issues. Not to mention that some huge mods didn't have a proper English translation, and now they finally do, so you don't have to worry about missing subtitle text, missing item descriptions, and so on. Gothic modding community is as active as ever, and I'm really glad that Gothic 3 is still getting so much love. So I wanted to make an updated version of that video, where I show you new features from these mods, as well as the much simplified installation process at the end of the video. These mods have some amazing gameplay improvements like better controls, better combat, great new visuals, new content, but it also refines all content in various ways. It's too much to count in a short introduction, so sit back, grab a drink or two, and let me show you what to expect from a new Gothic 3 playthrough in 2024. I want to start with the gameplay and combat mods first. By installing this mod pack, you will see a substantial difference in how your character controls. That's because of the mod called ICS, Classic Camera. You're now able to make quick and snappy turns, which happen instantly after you press the button, and it feels way less janky than before. It modernizes the control scheme of Gothic 3, making it feel similar to recent third-person action RPGs. You have a lot more control of your character in and out of combat. It also makes the ranged combat more enjoyable because moving around while aiming a weapon feels better as well. The next mod we're going to talk about is called Intuitive Combat System. As the name would suggest, this mod tries to improve the combat system in Gothic 3. If you played this game before, you probably know that these are not default animations for one-handed weapons. ICS added brand new animations, making the attacks feel like a combo. These animations look and feel way better compared to the vanilla game. The author of this mod is called Mac Hader, and his idea with ICS is to try and make the melee combat of Gothic 3 similar to Risen 1. And as you can see from his video, the animations are very similar indeed. The mod is still work in progress, and Mac will try to improve it a lot in future updates. The technical side of the combo is not fully done, as he plans to improve it in the future, if I understood correctly from one of his videos. But even in this state, I think the combo looks and feels way better than the vanilla game, which is not saying much to be honest, because the vanilla game had terrible animations. ICS also adds new animations for sword and board playstyle, which follow the same pattern. He made some notable tweaks related to these attacks as well, like slightly increasing the speed of the strong attacks and the first attack in the combo for two-handed weapons. Halberds and staffs have a more horizontal first attack, and he also changed the animation of the hero strafe with a staff in non-combat modes. I can't wait to see future updates for this mod, and if he's going to be able to make the combat more like Risen 1 in general. Judging by this video he posted 5 months ago, it also seems like he's working on some new two-handed weapon animations. The upcoming update should allow us to use the strong attack in a combo sequence as well, which looks like this. The next mod we're going to talk about is called the New Balance and Combat Improvements. I will point out a couple of major features of this mod which I found the most interesting, but you can check out the whole list of changes by just pausing the video. It's roughly translated from Russian, but it's not that hard to understand the core features of the mod. Using a two-handed power attack by holding both mouse clicks have been buffed. Now you can hit multiple enemies with this attack. I found this change very useful in fights against multiple opponents, even more useful than spin to win moves sometimes. You can basically hit everything in front of you, even if you're not targeting that particular enemy. Before this change, this attack was not extremely useful outside of one-on-one fights, and even then it was not that great. It's such a simple but impactful change, and we can only hope to see some great new animations in the future for two-handed weapons. Blocking works the same, but now we have a parry mechanic that triggers from a well-timed block. NPCs will flinch for a second when you perform a timed block, and it can be useful in fights, but I think this mechanic needs a bit more work in order to feel like a proper parry. I think it needs to be a bit more rewarding when you pull it off by maybe increasing the stagger time. Damage scaling on weapons depends on the weapon type itself. For example, two-handed swords receive 0.55 additional damage from strength, axes 0.6 and so on. The status effects on weapons are also reworked. Ice weapons are more likely to freeze enemies, and the hero receives more immunity to status effects if fire and frost protection skills are learned. Slashing attacks with your melee weapon will deal more damage than fast attacks with the right mouse button. That makes sense when you think about it. It was far too easy to exploit the fast attack before, especially if you play without alternative AI. Then we have various bonuses for types of damage. For example, skeletons take more damage from crushing weapons and are almost completely immune to arrows and bolts. Stone golems take less damage from blades and so on, you get the picture. NPCs can now use different types of arrows and bolts depending on their level and class. It's a nice little change which is supposed to add some depth to ranged enemy AI. If you use these mods along with alternative AI, the combat becomes much more challenging. New balance and combat improvements forces you to change your approach in combat, and that alone is making the melee combat more interesting than before, if you ask me. On top of that, almost the entire game is rebalanced to complement these changes, not only from these particular mods. New magic for NPCs makes all mages and magical creatures use spells of their elements. More importantly, the arsenal of mages have been expanded, so you'll see mages cast more than a couple of different spells.
There! So much for you, filthy beast.
This really makes some quests with mages way more enjoyable, but it also makes fighting some of them more challenging, of course. Now let's talk about a brand new mod, which makes Gothic 3 even more immersive. The mod is called Immersive World, and it expands the game world by introducing new features and mechanics. Immersive World adds new skills like Huntercraft and a hunting workbench, where you can make a lot of items if you have the crafting skills. You'll also need the recipe and the required items, of course. Writing Stand allows you to rewrite scrolls, and you can now do smelting at the blacksmith forge and scrap weapons for materials. This mod also adds new animals in the game like sheep, roosters, foxes and so on. What has to be one of the best features in this mod is how it adds new tunnels, passages and small locations around the whole map in the game. So even if you know Gothic 3 map like the back of your pocket, you'll find something new by exploring it again, and you're usually properly rewarded with some useful items.
What have we here?
The inventory now has 6 horizontal cells instead of 5, which is another quality of life feature. I'm also pretty sure that this mod is responsible for this particular talent you get, which allows you to enchant weapons with fire and frost, but I'm not sure. Small parts of the world around you will change over time, which helps with making the world feel more alive. Overall, this is one of the best mods that you can install for Gothic 3. Speaking of new content, we have a mod called Pirate's Dream, which adds a brand new questline related to pirates. You also have a brand new reputation for pirates in this mod pack. It was obvious that Piranha Bytes had plans to include something similar in the vanilla game, but as with many features in Gothic 3, it was unfinished, or in this case, non-existent. This mod adds quite a bit of new content in the game and some old faces from Gothic 2. Knights Chronicles is another similar mod which adds new content. There is a new quest line related to the mysterious knight, which has multiple endings. This mod also adds new NPCs and monsters, about 25 new models of armor including helmets, 20 new types of weapons, and so on. By installing this mod pack, you'll notice a bunch of new armors and weapons in general. You can buy, craft, or just find them sometimes by just exploring. It makes the progression and exploration more rewarding. Conquest is a mod which changes the revolutions in the game and adds more content which has player choice. If you never played Gothic 3 before, revolutions are events where you get to liberate cities, basically. Conquest makes sure to vastly improve this feature of the game by giving you more options and making these events more interesting in general. This mod also adds 4 new storylines related to the murder of Robar and Zuben. You will have more choices to make in general, and you'll notice that some previously hostile NPCs are now friendly because you have the choice to join them. It's especially noticeable in the deserts of Varant with nomad tribes. We can't forget about a huge rebalancing mod called Balance Ultimate. This mod was the main topic in my last video from 2023, and for a good reason, because it adds so much stuff in the game. It's not only about rebalancing the whole game, it also improves all playstyles as well. For example, the crossbow is much more fun to use now because of the new bolt types. Playing as a druid, or a mage in general, is also improved quite a bit by reducing the cast time for some spells. Balance Ultimate has reworked all armors and weapons, along with the requirements for wearing them. It's a huge list of changes and improvements. I'm not going to talk about all mods that you're going to get by installing this package, because that would take forever.
Don't be so hasty, son of impatience.
The package also includes some great older mods and some brand new optional mods as well. I like to mention that the world of Gothic 3 feels a bit more alive with this mod pack. You'll see bandits and rebels attacking cities, animals attacking farms, and so on, and it usually makes sense. For example, there is a quest in Montera to kill some wolves in a cave which attack the farm, and you can see them actually attack the farm. There is a bunch of new options to complete quests in a different way and increase your reputation with factions. You also get brand new NPCs related to old quest lines and so on. There are some optional mods in this package which are turned on by default, but you can easily turn them off if you don't like them, and I'll show you how to do it in the installation process. When it comes to visuals, I decided to use a mod called World Texture Mix in my newest playthrough. The general idea of this retexture mod is to keep the same vibe like the vanilla game with much improved textures. Combined with a mod which tweaks the ini file for increased view distance, it substantially improves the visuals in Gothic 3. There's a lot more mods in this mod pack, but we're not going to talk about all of them. I'm going to quickly show you how to properly install this mod pack without bothering you too much with technicalities like in the previous video. First of all, make sure to download everything you see on the screen right now. I'll have all the download links in the description, so download everything one by one and place it in a folder of your choice. Once you install Gothic 3 on Steam or GOG, this is the order of files to install on top of it. Here's a quick rundown of the installation process for essential files. As you could probably see yourself, we now have a proper English translation for all of these mods, which we didn't have in the last video, so you don't have to worry about missing text and subtitles for new content. Anyway, if you did the installation part with no issues, now we have a brand new mod starter. You can find it in Gothic 3 installation folder right here. Go ahead and start it, and let me show you what all of this means. It looks similar to the previous mod installer, but it's a lot more convenient. Ultra's mod packs is our main focus here. By choosing one of the mod packs and clicking on it, you will see that a bunch of mods will activate at once. I recommend playing with Ultimate mod pack installed, but you can check out every mod by yourself if you want. I highly recommend sticking to the Ultra mod packs because you literally can't go wrong with installing one of them. Everything will work out of the box if you do this, and all mods we talked about in the video are included regardless which Ultra mod pack you choose. They are very similar with some minor mod differences. So go ahead and click on the Ultimate mod pack, which will activate a bunch of mods at once. If you click it again, you'll notice that all the mods are still active, but now you can manually add more mods if you wish. I just like to add a couple of more mods on top of Ultimate mod pack, which I recommend, like better sound effects, new assassin textures, and the graphic mod I talked about before, World Texture Mix. Now you might prefer some other texture mods from this mod list, so check them out. Gothic 3 Retextured Final is another amazing mod that you can choose, but this one tries to make the game look similar to Gothic 1 and 2. Once you're done, you only have to click one button, which is Install Checked Mods. This process can take quite a while, and you have to do it every time you wish to add more mods or make some changes to your mod list. When that is done, you can launch the game normally through Steam or GOG. The last step is completely optional, and it's about increasing the view range of Gothic 3. You don't have to do this step, and it could potentially lower your FPS depending on your PC. But it makes the game look way better because it removes that render barrier, which looks very ugly for today's standards. I mentioned the new ini file for increasing the view range, which was one of the files that you should have downloaded before. The mod is called Gothic 3 FG Ultra Ini. There are multiple ini files that you can download, and I went with the low version because I wanted to minimize the chance to crash the game. Speaking of which, I heavily recommend changing the texture settings in the game to medium, because I had a ton of crashes on high setting. The game will still have sharp new textures from the graphical mod we installed before, so it's not a big deal. When I changed the setting to medium, all my technical problems went away. The game is very stable. You can try to experiment with better ini files from this mod as long as you get a stable FPS and no crashes, but I recommend a low or recommended ini file. Go ahead and place that ini file in this Gothic 3 folder and replace the original. If you screw something up, don't worry, because you can notice that you already have backup ini files which you can just rename and use the default settings. And that's pretty much it. You're ready to start a new playthrough of Gothic 3.
Damn it! I'll never be able to pull this off!
I tried my best to make the video easy to understand and reduce the whole installation process. If you followed everything step by step, you shouldn't have any technical issues at all. Anyway, tell me your opinion about Gothic 3 mods in the comments below, and have you tried to mod it in the past? Be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. You can also support me by becoming a YouTube member or a Patreon. I also have some cool t-shirts and hoodies in the theme of the channel, so check that out as well. Huge thanks to all of my current supporters, and I'll see you in the next one.